Hi parents. Okay, so this week we are working on Essay 6 and I wanted to touch base just a little bit about how you get from your outline to your actually Essay 6 essay. So you all have your outline, which they should have completed this past week and have it in class today. And then we're going to take this, and what I really want to show you is the new element that we added last week was refutation. I want to show you how this refutation becomes a part of your paper. So I have taken the model example that they have in the back of the book, and I have put it into the outline just in the refutation part, just so that you could see how this works. So the model in the back of the book, it began with the thesis that Edmund should not have followed the White Witch. So then when you get down here to this refutation section, your counter thesis is that Edmund should have followed the White Witch. Then you have your proof or your counter proof. Your first counter proof, the first reason why Edmund should not follow, or the main reason, was that the White Witch took care of Edmund. And then you've got your summary of support that she fed Edmund Turkish delights and she spoke kindly to him. But then why is that an inadequate reason? Well, she didn't really care about him. She just wanted to use him. Then you've got your counterproof 2, which here's your next reason. Edmund was alone and scared and he couldn't use good judgment. Why is that inadequate? Well, he wasn't really alone because Lucy was there and told him that the White Witch was evil. All right, now notice I didn't actually write anything in here for summary of refutation, because the reality is the summary of refutation is I'm going to restate my main reasons. So you have your outline. Let me show you what it looks like. I took the essay from the back of the book. This is from your guide, and this is just the refutation portion, and I color coded it so that you could see how this became this by part. So we start off with our counter thesis. And so they tell the counter thesis. Some people say Edmund should have followed the White Witch, because remember, our real thesis was he shouldn't have. Then we have our first proof. Now, remember, over here in my outline, all I said was Edmund, or the White Witch took care of Edmund. I didn't write a whole big sentence. It's really just a statement. Now it's time to turn it into my paper. So it becomes a little bit longer. They argue, who is they? Well, the some people. They argue that the White Witch took care of Edmund, feeding him Turkish delight and speaking kindly to him. And now we have, why is this an inadequate argument? Now, once again, over here in my outline, my statement is really just a statement. Well, she didn't really take care of him. She just wanted to use them. But when I put it over here, remember, you are 7th graders. At this point, you need to flower it up a little bit. I should see a little bit more of your personality. Tell me, really give me a reason why it's not a good argument. So in the example they gave us, it says, however, this idea is inadequate because we see the White Witch's true personality later. We see that she did not really care about Edmund, but that she simply wanted to take over Narnia. Feeding Edmund Turkish delight and speaking kindly to him was just a means to reaching her evil goal. Now, did I write all that in my outline? No. My outline is, remember, sometimes it's just a bullet point. This is the paper is when I get to take it and really flesh it out and make it a little bit more meaty. So here's where I think that the outline and the paper differ a little bit, and this is parent choice as to how you want to do it. So you see it starts off with this counterproof again, which we basically restate the exact same thing. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. In the outline that they give us as through Lost Tools, this counterproof 2 right here actually doesn't need to be rewritten. That's why it's in black. The things that are red are the things that are actually going to be written. So according to the actual outline that they have, and you'll see in here, they've got it. You don't actually have to restate your counterproof. It's not wrong to restate it, but it's also not required. So, that's up to you if you want to restate the counterproof or if you just want to go into, another argument is. That would be another way that you could do it. All right, but regardless of what you do about whether or not you restate the counter thesis, not counterproof, the counter thesis, because In here, if you notice, they don't have the counter thesis again. So I'm a little unsure as to why in the example they did that, because it's not really required. But that is neither here nor there. You can decide what you want your student to do. Regardless of if you have this first reason, you're going to want to start it with other people argue or something. You need some kind of an opener to say, here's my second reason that I'm arguing. And the second reason is because he is alone and scared and he could not use proper judgment, which is pretty much what I had written over here for my outline. And then we go to the next section, and this is our inadequacy of reason 2. And now look, I have inadequacy of reason 2 over here that it says Edmund's not really alone. Lucy was there, and she had told him the White Witch was evil. So over here, I've got the argument is also invalid because Edmund was not really alone. He had his trusted sister Lucy with him, and she had already testified that the White Witch was evil. We know that Edmund followed the White Witch out of pride and selfish ambition. So just kind of argued it. And then the very last thing you do is your summary of refutation. You're basically summarizing your counterproof 1 and your counterproof 2. You're basically restating it. Neither of these arguments, that the White Witch took care of Edmund and that Edmund was alone and scared, would give Edmund any sufficient reason to follow the White Witch. And you're done. Then your next statement is going to be going back, and you're going to go back, restate your thesis, restate your proofs, and then add your amplification at the end. So this could be a paragraph, or you could break it apart like this. In the example, they break it apart. It's not required. And the way the outline normally works is this would be paragraph 1, this would be paragraph 2, this would be paragraph 3, this would be paragraph 4. However, in the examples they give us, they break each part into smaller little paragraphs. And the reason that they do that is so that you are able to really see, do you have each component? If it starts getting into like one big paragraph and you can't tell, do I have 3 proofs, each with its own subproofs, then break them apart. Whatever is easiest, because remember, we are still in the learning process. This is our brand new Essay 6 format. So we're doing a new form. It's okay to break it apart into small bite-sized chunks. We would rather this be easier and something that they can digest versus trying to throw too many new things at them at one time. Now, that being said, we talked about this in class, and I'm going to send an email that has this. What should be included in Essay 6? This is my super simplified checklist. Everything on here they should have. Now, this first part, the A and I. If they don't have their A and I in their sorted columns, they can't do refutation, because their refutation comes from knowing that whatever the other column is. But these are the areas they need to make sure in their paper. They need an exordium, they need amplification, they need division, and they need refutation. In the elements of elocution, they need to have parallelism 1. This is of words. Parallelism 2, words or phrases and clauses. Don't forget, if they think they have a parallel phrase or clauses, have them write them like one on top of the other and see, is it the same parts of speech? Because what we're really doing here is parallelism of grammar. So they want to make sure that if it's a subject, verb, direct object, that it's subject, verb, direct object, subject, verb, direct object, subject, verb, direct object. If it's an ly adverb and a verb, then make sure it's ly adverb, verb, ly adverb, verb. Like, however you want to do this, just make sure that they're actually checking to make sure it's true parallelism 2. The next one are having precise and active verbs. Antithesis, which was what we added in Essay 5, where there's an area somewhere in your paper that you're adding in where it shows a comparison between 2 things, 2 people, 2 activities, whatever. And then we talked today about adding in a simile, and we did some exercises in class to make sure they understood the process of adding similes into their work. These things right here need to be added in. So just like we took a few words here and we made it into something much more digestible and easier to read to other people, all of the elements of elocution are what give our paper depth. So you need to make sure those elements are there so that their paper becomes more mature. I will highly suggest that you require them to include every element of elocution. because if you don't, they will start to just drop them off and not see them as important. And the reality is that these are the things that allow their papers to sound more persuasive, more intelligent, more mature, and just richer, just true, richer text. So please have them do this. I've given them a note and I told them in class, I am hoping that they will go back and that they will highlight each one in a different color, just like we used to do with IEW. And so that they can find it in class when we talk about, hey, let's all share our antithesis, that everyone will have one to share. Let's each share our simile and everyone will have one to share, because we want to make sure that everyone really is understanding this process and getting it in there. Okay. Now, to mom and dad, every single thing I just told you is in your book. If you are not using your book as your main resource, you are missing out on just a wealth of information. So everything in here about how to write your antithesis, it is all listed in here. They give you 4 examples in this one section. All I have done is showed you how they took an example and they turned it into the writing. So keep in mind, this is what we call bare bones. It's an outline. An outline is bare bones. This is bones with meat on it. So when they are taking it from the outline and they're turning it into the paper, they're putting meat on their bones. So it's just like when we first started out with the skeleton. Every time we build this, our skeleton gets a little bit beefier and a little bit beefier. So we're beefing it up. Now, that said, keep in mind, everything you need is in here. You have your guide of refutation that most of them were able to complete and bring in. There's all the information you need about how to create similes, including, we went through this in class on the whiteboard, so they should totally know how to do this. We practiced it with a thing, and then we practiced it with a character in our book. I've sent you pictures of that so that you can also look at that. Please keep in mind, in the back of your book, you have your sample essays. Use these because they will help you understand how it works. Now, if you, like, this is the one on Della, which we have not read The Gift of the Magi, but if you go through here, so this is essay 6, which is the essay we're on, what you'll notice is whatever is in bold, she feels like a parading peacock. We've worked on similes for this essay. So they highlighted it because they want you to understand, hey, there's a simile. And then this area that is bolded, this is the area of refutation. So look for the bolded areas and it's going to tell you what this new element is. If you are not using this, you're missing out on a really great support for you. Also, don't forget, your book came with videos. So if you have not watched the videos, if you're struggling with refutation, you need to go back and watch the video. Have your kids watch it, do it together, because it explains a lot as you go through there to help you understand how to work through this process. All right, I hope that helps. Thanks so much. Bye.